take you live now to our Dubai desk. Global South Africans is a Brand South Africa program aimed at enlisting the talent, experience and credibility of South Africans living abroad to build the nation's brand internationally. My co-anchor Ayanda Nyathi joins us now from Dubai for the latest on this conversation. And perhaps just as a start, Ayanda, I was watching your coverage over the weekend. You're still going to insist that this is a work trip?
I actually do, believe it or not. It's just that we make it look fashionable, for lack of a better term. It's great to see you, by the way. I really do miss your company there in Johannesburg. But we are linked virtually, so to speak, and you're absolutely right. A big part of what Brand South Africa is aiming to do, at least insofar as their participation here at the Dubai Expo 2020, is to bring South Africa's best foot forward. That happens in various ways, and to discuss one of the initiatives, let's just jump in and bring in our guest for this discussion. Her name is Zahira Mata. She's actually the Global South African Ambassador under Brand SA, and it's great to chat to you. Thanks so much for being with us here on Newzroom Afrika.
Thanks for having me.
So let's begin by just distinguishing the two, right? There's Brand South Africa and there's the Global South African program. What's the difference? Because it almost sounds like one does what the other does.
Well, I think the Global South Africa program is a vehicle that Brand South Africa use. So Brand South Africa's job is to drive the South African brand globally and make sure that all the sort of key messages are being fed into the right markets. Our job as global ambassadors is to support that effort. So to take what their messaging and what their purpose is and drive that into the markets that we operate in, essentially wherever it is that we're based as expats around the world.
As an expat, I do wonder whether it's becoming any easier at all to actually promote South Africa. After 1994, we had a great story to tell. In fact, just walking through our pavilion, which is where we're at now, you can see a lot of images of Nelson Mandela. There was a great revival narrative. As of late, in the past couple of weeks, that's changed drastically, including the moment where we had the riots in parts of Johannesburg and KwaZulu-Natal. How do things like that impact your ability to promote this country?
I think South Africa as a brand is always one of those challenging products, if I can put it that way. Just purely based on, we have quite a fluctuating situation back home. The narrative always is more challenging because there are perceptions of safety concerns and, challenges that are based around that. But I think you've got to sort of take that as part of what the offering is. The riots definitely threw a massive curveball our way. However, people weren't able to travel in and out at that time. So it almost gave you a slight buffer to then do your work and change that narrative. And the joy of being an expat community is that you do become the source of information. I think across the riots specifically, there was a lot of shortage in good news and positivity and a lot of emphasis on the negativity. And I think as an expat, you make that decision that you're either going to drive the positive narrative, not ignoring the negative, but highlighting the things that make us who we are and make us a special country to visit. And that's never going to change. There are going to be flare-ups of negativity. There are going to be flare-ups of issues of violence. But essentially, that's the fabric of our country. So I think the riots was a case of coming out and going, yes, this happened. We can't change the fact that it did. But we need to come out and go, as a country, what we're really good at is healing. So let's share those stories of communities coming together, sweeping up streets. Those stories that brought us as expats to tears, looking at it and going, I wish I was there. I was in Australia at the time, and I said to my husband, I want to go home. I want to be part of that. I want to be on those streets of Durban or, all the areas that communities just came together when the sun came up the next day with their brooms, making a difference. And I think that resilience and that bounce back factor is what makes us South Africans.
That's very interesting. Being in Dubai is also quite an interesting experience, especially because it's such a multicultural community, for lack of a better term. How do South Africans stand out in that context? I mean, what have you been doing to try and ensure that you're noticed, that the brand is noticed, and that good story that you speak about is also heard?
Well, I think working in a media space makes that a little bit easier for me.
Right.
South Africans everywhere. I mean, I'm the one who, at the table with the friends, whips out the rusks, the all-gold tomato sauce. And it's a joke, but they're like, wow, look, it's the South African billboard on feet. But I think it's an active effort, and I think everything in life is an active effort. You choose to focus on the positives. You choose to talk about the positives of your country. Dubai is one of those challenging environments because you're put up against everyone from the entire world. And it's your choice as how you take your nationality forward. You can be one of the ones that sit and grumble at the table about what goes wrong in your country, or you can be the ones to say, guys, you know what, when you get the opportunity, you need to get on a plane, you need to see our country. And that's the choice that I make. I think in different industries and different lines of work, that can be either easier or more challenging. But in general, people like us. We're friendly people.
Well, if you're the face of it, I imagine it goes really well, at least promoting that aspect of what we do. But very quickly, people who are involved in the Dubai Expo 2020, thinking about interacting with South Africa, what do you reckon is our biggest strength, at least at this initiative?
I think the tagline for Expo could not be more on the button. It's Think South Africa, Think Opportunity. And we are a melting pot of opportunity. And I say it over and over and over again, from film to food to you name it, we have it. Hospitality, leisure, travel, industry, fashion. So it's a real great platform for our country to step up and go, yes, we've got a difficult path. Yes, we've got challenges. But more importantly, we have loads of opportunity. And the Expo gives them a 6-month platform to really sell that.
Fantastic stuff. Really great speaking to you. Really appreciate your take on what sometimes is an incredibly complex situation, at least not only in South Africa, but also when you try to consider with how that translates on the global stage. That there is Zahira Mata. She's the Global South Africa Ambassador. We'll continue profiling individuals like this as we continue our coverage here at the Dubai Expo 2020.
I'm loath to let you go, but okay. We'll see you again for your next crossing. Ayanda Nyathi, live just there from our Dubai desk.